Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode. Today we've got a topic that caught my attention, and it's this topic around death. And yeah, it sounds pretty macabre, right? But the topic is around, why do we save so much to retire if there's a decent chance that we're not going to live until 80 or 90 and whatever, and be able to enjoy the savings and the retirement funds that we've created. Someone created this and posted this on the blind thread, so I'm gonna give you guys just a quick readout and then give you guys my own personal thoughts on this. So the title of this says, many people die shortly after retirement. Too often I hear about people that die shortly after retirement. It is very sad indeed. And I sometimes wonder, what's the point of saving for retirement? Never going on that vacation and just waiting to travel until after you retire. Life happens and you could just fall dead the next day. Hashtag today I learned. And it looks like he works at NASA. Yeah, so let's start with this. And I'm not sure where this person is from, but the average life expectancy, from what I understand, just looking at some of the surveys and looking at some of the data that's been coming out, I don't have it at the top of my head, but there's a general trend that life expectancy is increasing. Back in like the 1920s, people would live until, 60, 70, and there's probably a whole lot of reasons for this, but throughout time and as technology advances and as knowledge about health and diet and nutrition and fitness and all these other things gets better and better, the average life expectancy, at least in the Western world or in the developed nations, is increasing. And so most people, men and women, we're probably living into our late 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s. I know if you look at certain countries like Japan, where like the Okinawans, right, who are well known for having one of the highest life expectancies in the world, they have a very simple diet of like fish, vegetables, daily exercise. And so there's probably a strong correlation between just having a very simple life and lowering the amount of stress that you have with high life expectancy. And typically women, I think, live longer than men for probably a lot of different reasons, but it is what it is. And so people are living longer than usual now. And so this idea that many people die shortly after retirement, I'd like to see the data. I'm assuming that this person is making the assumption that, okay, you're saving, you're working hard for 65 years or plus. And I think in America, the typical retirement age is around that. And so, yeah, the idea that you have less time ahead of you than behind you is definitely accurate. I think most people will probably enjoy, 5 to 20 years after they stopped working to be able to enjoy their life. And at that point, you're probably not going to be at your physical peak. You're probably going to start having some health issues. You're probably also going to start having other things to worry about, like in-laws, your family, your kids, your grandkids. But at least you're not working, right? And so the idea that there's a chance that you might lose your life before you get to enjoy the things that you've earned, yeah, there's definitely some reason for that. And so this idea of just working and working and working and not enjoying it and just continuing to save and save and save, I tend to agree with the OP that that's not really the way to go. At the same time, having sort of a YOLO mindset where you're just living every day like it's your last and not preparing for the future. I remember growing up, there was a fable of the grasshopper and the ant. And long story short, the ants would just toil and toil and toil and save up and prepare for the winter, while the grasshopper would just play around, eat whatever he wants, and play his fiddle every day. And so finally, when winter came, he had nothing. And so he had to go to the ants and say, hey, guys, can you help me out? I'm struggling here. I'm not going to be able to make it. And so the ants kind of took him in. And so the moral of that story was, hey, you don't just live every day like it's your last. You prepare, you save up, you prepare for tomorrow. And I think, for humans, having a balance of that sort of mindset where you're, saving X percent from your paycheck every month to put into your 401k, to put into your stocks, your investments, while also living and, eating the things that you want on occasion, traveling, seeing the world, taking out your friends and your family and treating them occasionally. I think that's sort of the balanced mindset that you need to have. And I think for every human being, there's going to be a time in your life where you might not have a job, where you might not be in the best financial situation, or you might have unexpected expenses come up like health complications or medical problems that you need to take care of. And so it's not like you have this sort of approach throughout your working years and it's the same thing you do every year. And there's gonna be times where you're gonna spend more once a year. There's gonna be times when you're gonna be spending more. There's gonna be times when you can save more. And so having this sort of balanced mindset where you can still enjoy life and still, when you're young, when you have the energy, when you have the time and no kids and no family and no other commitments, and you can still enjoy these things, I think that's when you really need to take advantage of those opportunities, because once they're gone, it's hard to make them come back. I remember when I was in my early 20s and I was working, I really wasn't making that much, but my mindset was just save and just continue to, try to save as much as possible, not have really a lot of expenses. And I lived in houses with a bunch of housemates until I was in my 30s, actually. But that was one way that I was able to save a lot of my money living here in the Bay Area, because if I had gotten my own place, if I had started to get my own 1-bedroom apartment when I was in my early 20s, I probably wouldn't have, less than half the savings that I have now, maybe even less. But it was a sacrifice that I made, and it was a choice where, for me, home was a place to relax, to just enjoy myself, sleep, eat, do those things. But I was also willing to sacrifice a little bit of that to save more and to potentially buy a house down the road, which I was able to do in my early 30s. But at the same time, I was also using that money to travel, to see my parents, see my family, see the world, and also have nice things on occasion. Buying the car that I wanted, buying the tech gear that I wanted, and having some of the latest and greatest tech gear, because that's something that I personally enjoy. And my philosophy is that if you're going to be using something over and over on a daily basis, invest in the nice things. Don't go cheap on it, because it's probably going to break down and you'll probably have to upgrade anyway. So, everyone's got different vices, everyone's got different wants and needs. And so you really have to find the balance that works for you. And so I think you should definitely prepare yourself to have a long life. I mean, the chances of you living to 70 or 80 is pretty high. But you also don't want to just, spend your 20s and 30s just saving and not really enjoying your life when you're young and you're healthy and you have all these opportunities. So that's kind of my mindset, guys. I know everyone's got a different priority. Everyone's in a different life stage. So your values may not align with mine, or vice versa. So you all honestly have to do what's best for you and your family. But anyways, guys, those are my 2 cents on this topic. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that saving for retirement is a dumb idea, or do you think you should have a balanced approach, which is sort of what I recommend? Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I got to get into the office now, so we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.